Loyders Hill, St. Philip.
Sorry?
Loyders Hill, St. Philip, in the island of Barbados.
Lighters Hill?
Loyders.
Loiters?
Loyders, L-Y-D-E-R-S.
Loyders Hill?
Loyders Hill.
In St. Philip's?
St. Philip, parish of St. Philip,
Okay,
in the island of Barbados.
great. How would you describe your hometown to me? Lighters Hill?
I would say much the same as as a village here, something like the country villages in England. And everybody know everybody, and everyone knows everyone. Mostly like the countryside in England.
How big is the island of Barbados?
Well, it's quite small actually, just a bit bigger than Birmingham.
Barbados itself?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just a bit bigger than Birmingham.
Okay.
Yeah. And as I says, everyone more or less knows everyone in the villages, and obviously you got the weather more or less is completely different. It's always warm,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see the sea from nearly every part of the island. You know, as you drive around the island, you can see the sea from nearly all over the island. Actually, you can see the lovely blue sea in the distance, and the air is always fresh.
Great. So, as a child, can you describe your life to me in Barbados?
Very active. Cricket, you know, you always played cricket. You know, cricket was, everyone wanted to be Frankie Worrell, Iverton Weeks, Clyde Walcott in those days. You know, everyone wanted to be one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Cricket was the thing of the day. Everyone wanted to be a cricketer.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose you could see it. It's like football was at the time. At the present moment, like a football is at the present moment.
Do you have brothers and sisters? I mean, can you describe your home life to me?
Yeah, it was very enjoyable and happy home life. Yes, I have 3 brothers, 2 brothers, 3 sisters, actually. Oh yeah, it was a happy family. You know, and again we had an extended family, you know, which is family reasonably close, very close family. I have a sister in this country with me as well, and a sister in America. I have a brother that does quite a bit of traveling around the world in general, works for the Barbados government. And I was educated at St. Catherine's Infant School, then moved on to Shrewsbury. Education is a very big thing as well. Everyone tries to, no matter how poor the people are, everyone tries to educate the children, you know, give them a better, in other words, as life goes, try to give them a better life than they have had.
Mm-hmm. So you schooled at St. Catherine's, is that like?
St. Catherine's Infant School,
Okay.
primary school.
Okay.
So, yeah, I moved on to Shrewsbury.
Shrewsbury's the name of the second school?
Yes, all boys. St. Catherine was mixed, and
Right.
Shrewsbury was all boys.
school.
All boys at that time.
So that was a secondary school? Yeah?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't secondary. It was
Primary as well?
a bit higher, slightly higher than St. Catherine's. Yeah,
Okay.
higher grade.
Are these schools your brothers would have gone to, your sisters, did they?
My brothers, yes, brothers have been to those schools. Obviously, they've been on to higher schools. They've been on a bit higher than I have. But one of them has been a bit higher than I have.
Mm.
My sisters, they have been as well. They've been to different schools actually. They've been to Bailey's school.
Mm-hmm.
They've been on to higher schools as well. One of my sisters actually, she's been on to university in America. But since the school and the education I thought was very good. You know, obviously at that time being a kid, you see it different. You know, I had private lessons as well.
Right. So does that...
Private tuition.
Right. Does that mean your parents were quite well off?
Well, I wouldn't say. I suppose you could say reasonably well off, yeah.
Okay. In your household in Barbados, how many people? So I mean, you talked about an extended family before.
Well, obviously, on a certain extent, obviously, I mean, they live. In our household was just us, more or less. My mum, dad, brothers and sisters. That was
your household.
That was our household. You know, there was actually we never saw this people living together till we came here. Actually, and it was a bit surprised, especially being young. It was a bit, because to us the house was you, your brothers and your sisters, and that was it in Barbados. It was in Barbados. I think maybe the Jamaicans probably have a slightly more idea of more of that than we did in Barbados. Right. You know, I think. So obviously things have changed now, yeah.
So your links with your extended family in Barbados were through maybe, I don't know, grandparents lived nearby perhaps, or
yes,
within reach?
that kind of thing, yeah, relatives and thing, yeah.
Okay. Was religion at all a part of your life in Barbados growing up as a child?
Well, of course, being a child, being young as well, I suppose you see it different. You know, you see, but it was a thing, yes. I mean, my mother and dad, my mother especially, was strictly Church of England. Mm-hmm. You know, she church every Sunday, you know, and that. And obviously, my sister and brother, they was confirmed and that. And I heard my sister say that when they had to learn the catechism, you know, and obviously, if they didn't know it, the vicar would give them lashes.
Right.
At school and that kind of thing.
What was that? Sorry, if they had to learn
the catechism, which was catechism before there was a confirm, like you say.
Right. So they have to learn something.
They have to learn it. They have to know it, you know.
And they have to recite it.
Yes.
Without any script or
they have
anything.
To know it. And if they didn't know it, you know, the vicar would give them lashes.
Right.
You know, those who went to school, school and that. Yeah, religion. It was a very big thing. Obviously, at that time, being a lad, you see, you know, you see it different. As you get older, I suppose you realise, and you know, you needed these things to keep you stable and you know.
So, what are you saying as a child? How did you feel about it? Did you not take it seriously? Is that what you were trying to say?
Well, I took it. Probably not. I took it a certain way, but obviously, when you're young, I mean, you see life different. As you get older, obviously, these things that you have as a child, obviously, when you get older, then you start to realize the value of these things. I suppose that's why you have the parents are there to guide you more or less. You know, I suppose, you know, to make sure that you stay on the narrow. But saying that again, I mean, we had no problem with the drugs. There was no drugs or nothing like that. You know, I mean, obviously, in this country, obviously, you find the kids they have more. But in those days, we didn't have that much. But we really enjoyed what little we had. You know, I mean, you know, we played cricket, we go to the beach. You know, and that was part of your life. You pitched marbles, and you know, you enjoy life, and you had a full life more or less. You know, you had you really enjoyed. You know, enjoy your life, had a full life. Yeah.
Do you remember anything specific from childhood, whether it be, I don't know, a childhood memory from school, something at home, I don't know, some kind of punishment, anything?
Oh yes, I suppose I had punishment, yeah. I suppose I had, as a lad, I suppose that, yes, I mean, I got punished, yeah.
By who?
By mum, and I suppose at school as well, if you did, that's another thing again, I suppose at school, if you got punished at school. Sometimes you look back, obviously, when you get older, you look back and you think, you know, you got a bit too much. It was a bit too much of it at the time. At school, you know, not with your mum, I suppose not with your parents really, but at school, you know. Because I think, looking back, I think probably a kid could get nervous, you know. You give work instead of explaining to the kid. I suppose that's what it was at the time, but a kid could get nervous and, you know, not being able to, wouldn't be able to concentrate as he should, you know. And again, you get punishment from your parents, you know. Somebody got punishment, you're playing cricket, you know. They'll say, you know, you're going, you're playing cricket with the lads and you forgot you have to be back home at such and such a time. When you go home, you know, the old lady, you know, where you've been all this time, when you forgot all about, you know, you got that much involved in playing the cricket, you forgot, you know, you had to be back home at a certain time. Because when you go home, the old lady will, you know, my father never gave me lashes, but the old lady would, you know. My father would just say, well, why don't you hear what your mum said? You know.
So Barbados being quite a small island.
Small island, yeah.
How did you identify? I mean, yourself as people. Did you feel strong as a community? Did Barbados have its own identity, or did it feel like it belonged to something else?
I think we had our own. We had our own identity. I think most West Indians, I think I would say, probably had their own identity. And looking back, I would say to a certain extent, how we see one another in certain respects, I would say, was just a matter, was ignorance to a certain extent. How one West Indian island see another West Indian island. I think a lot of it was ignorance. You know, they didn't really understand the people, understand one another as such. You know. Obviously, the cricket team as well, that helped bring the islands more closer together. Yeah.
So you were active in cricket from what age?
From the time I could walk, that's what I would say.
Sorry?
From the time I could walk.
From the time you could walk?
I would say so enough, yeah, because cricket was the thing, yes, you know. And I think you had a problem to find a Barbarian that really wasn't interested in cricket. Yeah. I suppose it was more like a football, let's say, to a certain extent, isn't it?
National sport.
It was a national sport, yes. You know, cricket. Everybody at that time, the outstanding stars really only had the 3 W's: Weeks, Worrell, and Walcott. You know, of course, everyone wanted to be a Weeks or Worrell or Walcott. You know. So of course, you had Headley in the international scene. Then you know, you didn't have Headley had from British Guyana, had Robert Christiani, you know, and those kind of fellas, you know, great cricketers. Larry Constantine. You know.
So what you're saying is, excuse my ignorance, I know little about cricket.
No problem,
in general. You're talking about various famous cricketers who were role models.
From the different islands,
who were role models for a lot of people. Like yourself, growing up. Who were active in cricket.
That's right. Yes, you know, those were real role models. Yes, I mean, I played BCL. You know, you go from what they call playing the bat and ball, you know, to the organised cricket. Then it was BCL was the starting point. Then you know, then you move on into higher grade. You know, BCA, and then that in BCL then was that was the starting grade, you know, and that was like Saturday, you play Saturdays then, you know, every Saturday.
Right.
For so long then, you see, you've just got your whites on and you're going, it was in the league. That was the league then, you know, the start of the league. And that was very, very competitive then, you know, if you're good, well then you get selected, then you move on, then you become, actually the opportunity was there. If you was good enough, you could move on to represent the island and eventually the West Indies, if he was good enough. Right. You know, there was.
So if you were good enough, if you put the hours in, and maybe you'd see the rewards.
Yeah.
In the future.
Okay. Yeah. You see the rewards. I mean, Sobers, the great Gary Sobers. I mean, I never played against him because, as it happened, he moved on the year before I started playing. You know, but I mean, it was talk with all the Sobers then. You know, I remember people saying how good he was, you know, and that kind of thing, that they knew that there was something in him from early days. Yeah.
So tell me, at what sort of age, at what age, did you come to this country, and what was the process prior to you coming? What were your reasons?
Coming. Well, there was a shortage of opportunities, the outside world in general, America, which was it was a bit difficult to get into America then.
Mm-hmm.
And people see they could get to England, and people see England then as work more or less jobs. It was shortage of jobs in Barbados, and that kind of thing. And people see England as a land of opportunity. England was although saying that, there were people that could have come at the time that didn't come.
Mm-hmm.
People didn't find it because Canada and America was the main thing at the time. Yeah, but England was there as well. Whoever wanted to come could have come more or less, and had the money to pay the passion that could have come. And a lot of people came. And we came with the idea of 5 years, and that would have been it. 5 years we would come and we would go to college or learn something, and we would back to the West Indies.
Right.
That was the general idea. Of course, we came and as we move on, things change, and eventually we grow up and we find it's not like that. So obviously, a few went back, not many.
Yeah. Sorry, just to take you back then. You talked about why you came over just then. If you could talk about what you had to leave behind. You were coming here for 5 years.
Yeah. Before coming, actually, I was working at the Demo Bus Company.
Mm-hmm.
I was a mechanic in
Barbados.
In Barbados, in the garage, Demo Bus Company. Before that, my old lady ran the shop. Actually, and I used to help the old lady in the shop. Actually, more or less, used to run the shop to a certain extent, rum shop. And I used to run the shop.
Mm-hmm.
Then after the talk came up, then we're coming to England and that. Everybody was coming to England, and they thought, well, maybe it would be better. And I was young as well. So they
Can I ask for clarification of age at this point? How old were you? Or what year?
17,
Okay.
17, 18. So I went to work at the garage, at the bus company, and I worked there for a bit, and eventually came to England. At the garage, of course, learning mechanic, in the garage. And I enjoyed that. I used to enjoy working at the bus company, especially around a certain time, August time, I used to get a lot of excursions and that. And we have to work, not very hard, but we have to work a lot longer than we normally do something to get the buses ready, because there wasn't many buses at this company. You got to work to get the buses ready to go on the excursions.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many. There's so many on the road.
Right.
You have to keep the road going, and then
keep getting them ready.
Yeah, for the excursion. To do the excursion run, which would be special, like you say. I used to enjoy it.
So why was August the most favourite time of your year? Year for you, because it was busy, or because there were lots of people?
Well, funny enough, that time of the year, I wouldn't say the weather. I suppose the weather, you could say the weather as well. But August, that's the time that they usually have the holidays, the school holidays, and you get the holiday times and that. And the excursion would be day trips, more day trips to a certain part of the island. So the island wasn't very big, so day trips,
Mm-hmm.
like that, and everybody was planning for these excursions, big excursions. One of the biggest in the island, I remember, was St. Barnabas. It's one of the biggest in the island, if not the biggest. And they're the church, actually, St. Barnabas Church. It's a church excursion.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wanted to come from across the island to go to that excursion. People look forward to that excursion. It was a big one. Saying that, there was others around the island as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, who did you have to say goodbye to prior to coming to this country? And what a date would be useful as well, you know.
What date?
Yeah, a date for when you came to this country and who were the
I think we
people?
left Barbados on the 20th of June, I think. 20th of June, 1956.
Right.
Of course, we said bye to mum and dad, brothers, and sisters. I had a sister already in this country, actually, was doing nursing.
And who did you come over by yourself? I mean, who?
Yeah, I came over by myself. I was coming to a cousin in Birmingham. That was named Wilson.
You had someone to meet in Birmingham called Wilson?
Wilson, yeah.
How did you travel?
We travelled on the Orpinia, 14 days at sea, and we landed at Genoa. We travelled from Genoa to Paris by coach. We spent the night in Paris.
Where? What kind of?
It was in a hotel. I can't remember exactly what
Hotel,
the hotel, a very nice accommodation in there. We had a guide take us around Paris and, you know, showing us the sights and things around Paris. At the time, I mean, you saw things different then at that time.
What were most of the people on the ship like? I mean, were there most people black? Were there for most?
Yeah. The people on the ship mainly, it was an Italian ship. The people on the ship was mainly West Indians, obviously. I was 90% West Indian, if not more than that. 90-something% West Indians, Jamaicans, Sinkies, I think it was Martinique. I'm not sure if it was Trinidadians. It was mainly West Indians, you know, West Indians. I mean, the voyage on the ship again, it was very, very enjoyable if he wasn't sick. You know, the odd one was seasick and that, but it was very. We felt before we got on the ship, we felt a bit. Not scared is not better, for the want of a better word. Scared, I suppose, to a certain extent. But after a couple of days at sea, you forgot where you was. You know, it was really enjoyable. You know, food wasn't bad, it was nice, and as it happened, the weather wasn't bad. You know, we really enjoyed the beautiful sea and the fresh air.
Did this feel like an adventure, or? It
was an adventure. We didn't, although to a certain extent we might not have seen it that way at the time, but it was.
How did you see it at the time?
I suppose being young, you know, to us it was just pleasure. You know, realize what we was coming for, you know, and that. We was not taken back of it, I suppose, when we arrived in this country. You know, it was seen a bit damp. You know, that kind of thing, cold.
Sorry, to take you back to Paris, you spent a night in Paris in a hotel.
Yeah.
And then from Paris, you went to?
From Paris, we took the train from Paris to Calais. Then from Calais, we got the ferry across to Dover. From Dover to Victoria. From Victoria then.
So your first impression of England would have been in Dover?
Yeah, it was, I must admit I couldn't remember what I saw there, to be honest with you. Because we was that busy taking it with, you know,
all these,
paperwork and whatnot, you know, traveling around with that. I was on to Victoria, so my first impression I was saying it was in Birmingham, you know, that's when because you couldn't see anything really. I think it was a bit dark as well at the night, you know, foggy and that.
So from Victoria you got to Birmingham then, is that right?
From Victoria, yes, to Birmingham, yeah. New Street Station. And then you get a taxi to the address, 39 Charlotte Road. Because actually they didn't meet us at the station, you know, you get a taxi. As it happened, I forgot to mention this, but I met up with a chap on the ship that was going to the same address as I was. Charlotte Road, a chap by the name of Louis Cullimore, you know, and obviously we got talking that, you know, and as it happened, I knew the people that he was going to. You know, I didn't know him in Barbados, but you know, I got to know the people he was going to. Of course, we more or less we stuck together then. Those ones were the chaps on the ship I knew.
So Louis was not from Barbados?
Yeah, he was from Barbados, yeah.
But you met him on the ship?
On the ship, yeah. And we got talking there, and I knew the people that he was going to
meet
with, yeah. He was going to the same address. And there were some other chaps on the ship as well that I knew from Barbados. I mentioned those. You know, there was Carl Warner, there was Royal Burke. You know, those shops I knew from Barbados actually. But I didn't know those coming to England. We met up on the ship and that. You know.
You knew these people in the community or from
cricket?
Or?
In the community.
Okay.
In the community and that.
So that must have made it less homesick, I suppose.
Well, it made it, yeah, to a certain extent. Yes, it made it less, less homesick and that.
So why Charlotte Road? What was the connection with Charlotte Road? You said you knew the people there.
I knew the chap I was coming to, the chap that my friend was coming to as well. They lived at Charlotte Road. It's quite a big house it was actually. You arrived there, I think it was Sunday night you got there. And we got up the Monday morning, first things going to look for jobs, looking for jobs. We went to the sign on at the Labour Exchange and they signed on. Mm-hmm. And I went first, I got a card. Now Louis went up first, Louis got a card. They gave Louis a card to go to British Rail to have a test, a medical. A test and a medical. For a job on the railways, and he passed the medical, he passed the test, and he got a job in Wolverhampton. I went and they gave me one to go to the Midland Red. The Midland Red depot in Birmingham as a mechanic. When I came back, Louis said to me, he says, why don't you go and get a card? Come with me to Wolverhampton. Okay then, So when I got a card to go to the railways well for tests, and of course passed the test, and I got a job in Wolverhampton as well with him on the railway.
So what did the test consist of?
Basic arithmetic,
okay.
Adding and that in the medical, test your eyesight, test blood pressure, etc. See if it was fit in that. Well, it was no problem at that time. But I think that was a problem for any West Indian, I think. For any West Indian, it was all fit. The majority was young. And that.
So after the medical, that meant you had a job with?
British Rail, Wolverhampton. They gave us a ticket, to travel to Wolverhampton, a free pass. To travel to Wolverhampton to the Bushbury, then it was at the time. Wolverhampton, then down to Bushbury. British Rail, Bushbury on the bus. The report then, we had a report there. I think we started the following, that was the Monday. We started the Wednesday, to start on the Wednesday, British Rail. Mm-hmm. They came up and they gave me 2 weeks to try and learn my job, shunting. And Louis went straight working with the gang, repairing the rails. Yeah. After 2 weeks training, the head shunter, he said it was like, the head shunter said, he told the foreman, he didn't think I was any good for the job, that I would never make a shunter. As long as I live, I would never be a shunter, he said. So I had to go and see the yard master, probably get the sack, or he'd probably transfer me to another department, depends on what he thought. Went and see the yard master, and he said, he gave me another week, so get my finger out. If not, you have to give me the sack. So of course that week done the trick. I was a shunter. In the meeting, Louis carried on the job on the rails, working on the line and that. We had another problem. He lived in Birmingham, right, and worked in Wolverhampton. So what we did, we worked at weekend. We didn't work weekends. We came over at weekend looking for somewhere to live in Wolverhampton, and we met up with this chap, and he said, Barbados for a chap by the name of Rutt. Louis met this chap, Rutt, was working on the railways when he got there. And this chap said, well, you think there was a lady by the name of Marion, had a house at 32 Lee Road, and she had beds in a room, so go and see her. So the Saturday we came over, and he saw Marion. He said, yes, she got 2 beds. We could have had them in this room. She in the room with a chap by the name of Ferguson from Jamaica. And we moved over the following day. We started work the That was the weekend. We moved the weekend. As soon as we got the room, we went back and we moved our things over the same day. We didn't have a lot to move, obviously. Suitcase. All our belongings in the case. We moved to Marion.
So what was the setup like at 32 Lee Road?
Well, there was quite a few people. It was a big house as well again, you know, and there was quite a few people there.
How many? I mean.
Oh, I don't know. It's difficult. I couldn't put a figure on them because you never see everybody more. You never see all the people more. That's because they work different shifts.
Right.
And that you see, you know, when you were there, someone not there. You know, when you're going, someone's coming and that kind of thing. Yes, it's difficult to put a figure on.
How many rooms were there?
It was a big house. It was a massive house. Roughly there was 1, 2. It could have been 6 or 7.
Okay, that's quite big, yeah.
It was a big house, could have been that, yeah.
And how many people?
It was a double house, actually.
And how many people were there per room?
I'm not sure.
You were saying, although you lived there a number of years, you'd never been upstairs.
No, so I couldn't see how many people were at the house, really, you know, difficult. But the landlady and landlord, I mean, they was very good. Very good people actually. Actually, she helped quite a few people up from Jamaica. She did, you know, the landlady did.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, helped quite a few people in this country. And if they had any problems, you know, they go and see her, and she would always help them. You know, she was very good. She was the landlady and the landlord.
So how did you presumably had a room there, or did you share a room?
I shared a room. Actually, there was 3 of us in this room.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 of us in the room. Then eventually, another chap, Louis, who shared the room with us, obviously. He had a cousin came up from Barbados, and he joined us then. And he got a job on the railway working with. Louis got a job from on the railway. They was working together then on the rails. And another chap I knew from home came over then from Birmingham to join us. A chap with the name of Teddy.
Mm-hmm.
So it was myself, Roy, Teddy and Louis, 4 of us, and the Jamaican chap Fergie sharing the room together, you know. Of course, we were working, we'd come home in the evenings and we were exchanging thoughts and that, you know. At weekends we would go to the pub and have a drink.
Mm-hmm. What was the area like? What was Lee Road like? I mean, were there many other
the area, yes, there was, yeah, because I mean, there was quite a few, mainly Jamaicans, actually, there was quite a few around in the area then,
right.
You know. And Indians as well, there was quite a few Indians as well around, as well, you know, so the area was starting to build up more or less, you know, starting to build up. And as we move around, then we start to move around then a bit more, we find a few more, you know, you go into town and you feel, when you see a black face, you know, you feel a bit, you feel pleased when you see a black face, you know, because obviously there wasn't that many around at that time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, by seeing someone else who's black, would you automatically talk, or would you exchange information?
I think yes. In those days, you would, yes. You know, if things have changed. But at that time, you more or less would, you know, you go up and you exchange thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, so there wasn't many of you around. What as times changed, then, you know, obviously, more came on the scene. Maybe we had, a bit later, Roy got the sack from the rails, and he moved on to Wellingborough to join some other friends. You know, he got the sack him off the rails, and for telling the gang leader, you know, what he thought of him in for language. Told him to take a running jump, you know, not in that language, obviously. He got the sack, and he went to Wellingborough to join a friend. Friend got him a job in Wellingborough, and he went to join him. And Teddy, about a couple of years later, Teddy moved on. Teddy went to join his brother in Preston. He got a job up there as well. Then we meet him on the roads. We had some other friends, some other people came then to join us on the railway from Barbados. Then I remember there was Berkeley Smith, a chap by the name of Berkeley Smith. He came to join us on the railway on Barbados. And there was another chap by the name of Cab, Johnny, we met up with. And then there was Yank Thompson, a chap named Philip. And eventually started to build up there was a few more Barbadians around then, you know, and that.
How important is it, or even was it, for Barbadians maybe to stick together here, you know, to feel like they're connecting, to feel like they have a community?
I suppose in a way you could say it was very important, but saying that again, I think, you know, it was more or less, it was West Indians then, it was West Indians, you say. It was more or less West Indians then, you know, obviously, you know, it was, although to a certain extent I suppose we probably saw ourselves as being Barbadians and Jamaicans and that, to a certain extent it was West Indians,
right.
You know. And I think it tended to bring us more together to a certain extent, being like that. Although things have changed, you know, things change. People realize, people see life. That's at that time. That's how we saw life. The younger ones saw life at that time. But among us then, I think the older generation started to see life different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the older Jamaicans and Barbadians, they tend to move together more or less, and then they see life different. Then, you know, the young ones saw it. You see, they thought we need to become more stable. We need to be stabilized to a certain extent. We need to become more stable, you know, because obviously it was a bit unstable, and we was, I suppose, like most new people are in a new country, you know, nothing to. We needed something to hang on to, you know, and of course they started to try to form the older ones, you know, Mr. Mitchell, there was Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Fullwood, Bassey, Yank, Thompson. They thought, you know, that we needed something so they tried to form an association or cricket team to get something organized, with the help of Mr. Eyre, who was then a white probation officer.
Mr.
Eyre, Jeffrey Eyre, his name, was a white probation officer. He assisted them then to get started, you know, how to go about getting the loan and etc., getting a bit of finance to get it off the ground. And Bassey, if I remember Bassey, you know, he played a part in it as well. And they got the Wolverhampton Commonwealth cricket team going, you know, and that helped.
So what year was the setup in the Wolverhampton Commonwealth cricket team?
What was the setup, you say?
What year, sorry?
Oh, what year? What year would that be? I don't say probably around 50, could be around 59, probably around 59. Around 59, I would say. I could be wrong on that. I would say around 59. And obviously the cricket team was formed, and it bring us together. You know, it was the Wolverhampton Commonwealth, it was called then. You know, we had quite a good team we had. You know, we had Mr. Corniff, captain, then we had the Garwood brothers, we had the Quinton brothers, Clark, Mr. Big B, Mr. Buckner, Mr. Stevenson, Mr. Ken, Mr. Stevens, Muir, and a few more. Mm-hmm. And Danny, we had Danny. We had quite a good team, you know. Especially, I mean, we had Clark. Clark was quite a quick bowler. He was quite quick actually, and he was backed up by the Garwood brothers and Mr. Thompson. You had Cab behind the wickets. You know, he was quite good actually, quite good, very good keeper he was. You know, and the opposition, they're looking at us as, when we used to do around Commonwealth, but the opposition used to look at us as the West Indies. At that time, the West Indies had a very, very, very strong team. We was good. I thought we was good, actually.
Did other teams that you played against?
Oh yes, the teams that we played against.
Did they have any black people in their teams or not? Any other people?
Yes, one or two of them did have. They worked, because the chaps worked for these teams, and one or two of the teams did have some black chaps in them.
Right, but not all.
But not. So what was it saying again?
I was saying not all blacks though. Yours
was
Commonwealth.
Yes, it was
so
all.
Everyone would have been of colour.
Yes, it was all blacks. Yeah, it was all blacks. But the opposition, they had done one or two chaps that worked for the teams. Worked for the works and that they would put in the teams, and that. And as I say, you have to stabilize just a bit. And we started to see life different. Things started to change. And we realised then, we started to move about the country a bit, and as we move around, we started to learn some of the geography of the country as well. And we realised that the country folk, some of the country folk, you get in some of these country teams and you find the country folk, they speak different from the town folks. They had a kind of a...
Can you think of anywhere as an example? Anywhere in particular? I don't know, Warwickshire, Shropshire, where...
Shropshire, there was Shropshire. We had, what's the name of the place? We had Shropshire. It's a few years now, isn't it? Shropshire.
And people spoke differently?
Yeah, you get on some of these farmers, but looking back now, me realise it. The farmers, and the posh, I was probably more posh. More posh. But we enjoy it, and I must have it, they looked after us,
So you were treated well?
We was
received well by these people?
Yes, they treated us well, They used to look forward to playing us, actually, because they said we had a good team. We were well organised in that.
As a cricket team, did you ever experience any racism or any discrimination in any shape, way or form? I don't know, the odd name call, anything?
I must admit, personally, I didn't actually, but saying that again, I'm not saying that it could have been there, but
Not directly to you, maybe it was indirect perhaps.
Yeah, and it could have been there more or less before we arrived or after we left, but saying that again.
Yeah.
There was very, we was well received, and used to look forward to playing against us, they said, they looked on us as the West Indies then, And I said, at that time the West Indies had a very good name in this country as well. But so it could have been there, but must admit, personally, I can't say, some of the chaps might have, but personally, I would have to say no.
Right. So, you're in this country. You were working for British Rail.
British Rail, I was still with British Rail at the time.
Bushbury.
Yeah.
You're playing cricket in your social time, for leisure.
Yeah, that's right. I used to look forward to the weekends and that.
What else was there in your life? I mean, how did you meet your wife?
I said I had a sister. I had a sister being nursing in this country, And I knew my wife. I knew her from back home, actually.
Okay.
As it happened, but we wasn't friends as such.
You knew of her back home?
I knew her back home, yes.
Okay.
But we wasn't friends as such. We wasn't friends back home.
Okay.
But I knew her quite well. I knew her parents, and her parents knew my parents quite well as well. When friendship started, I think I'd been to see. To visit my sister, because she was working at the same hospital as my sister, and.
Sorry, for clarification, was this Wolverhampton?
No, it wasn't Birmingham neither. It was Lincoln.
Okay.
My sister was training in Lincoln, and I went to visit my sister in Lincoln, and I think our friendship started from then. And
at what age?
20 odd, 20 something. It was 20 odd then. 20 odd then. I was 20 something then. Then she moved from Lincoln then because the nurses actually to travel around, used to move around quite a bit. She moved then to Rochdale. Of course, I visited Rochdale then. I visited Rochdale and Oldham. And eventually she came to a family. Actually, I used to go to Oldham quite often, actually. I was a regular visitor to Oldham.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we get free passes being on the railway as well. We get free passes, you know, up to Manchester and up to Oldham, you know.
Of course, that would have made it easier, yeah.
Yeah, I spent quite a few weekends up that way, actually. Oldham and Manchester, the few friends I had there, you know, there was Duke. There was quite a few chaps up there, and the same chap came up with me, Royal Burke, he was in Oldham. And there was Roy Brown, there was quite a few chaps up in, but I had some happy days up in Oldham and Manchester at that time, you know.
So she came to Wolverhampton?
In the latter days, then, you know, that was around the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Around the 60s, and then we got married.
Where did you marry?
We married at Christchurch. It used to be Christchurch. We had the temple is now at the bottom of Waterloo Road. It was roundabout, that big.
Oh, it's the mosque.
Mosque, yeah,
Muslim
mosque, yeah. That was, we got married there, Christchurch.
Right.
At the time I was living at Waterloo Road.
Mm-hmm.
At Mr. Jones, another gentleman as well again, Mr. Jones, Jamaican chap. What a gentleman he was, he and his wife, and a lad, Asker. And but before the wife came and joined me then at Waterloo Road, I used to live there then with a chap by the name of Berkeley Smith. And the Cullimore boys, the Cullimore brothers,
mm-hmm.
you know, there was Sam, Barris, Edward. We used to live in we cooked together. We used to cook together actually. You know, we taking it turns to cook. Who finished because we all work shift.
Yeah.
And the one that finished first and get on first, he do the cooking. You know that you know. Things that we never did that in the West Indies. You know, we came here, we learned to cook. We had to, suppose, in a way.
So, you were living in this house with two other friends?
Yeah, three or four others, I think it was.
Three or four others?
Yeah,
on Waterloo Road?
Yeah, Waterloo Road, yeah. There was Byrne Bancroft, there was Weeks, and there was Bennett. You know, there's quite a few of us there then, quite a few. Because actually there was two houses actually. We lived at 130 and there's some other, these other Barbadian chaps live next door.
Right.
You know, so we get along all the Jamaicans and thing, you know, we get together and thing, we have our own little fun, or partying and that.
So when your wife and yourself married, what happened then in terms of living arrangements?
When I moved from there then obviously, as I think was starting to move then, you know, obviously the West Indian then he was starting to move up the ladder, move on a bit, you know. Obviously, he was getting on in age as well, seeing a life different. We got ourselves a house in at Lower Villiers Street. And we moved into Lower Villiers Street. We had a little baby then, a little girl.
Mm-hmm. Lower Villiers is in Blakenhall.
Blakenhall, yeah.
Okay.
Lower Villiers Street, where the park. I lived there then.
And you had a baby daughter?
We had a baby daughter, yeah.
Name of?
Eula.
Eula?
Yeah, Eula, yeah. There's a woman now, actually.
So you lived in Lower Villiers for how many years? Or?
I lived there quite a few years, actually, before. Obviously, it's getting up now to the end of, we're going now over 60. Again, I'm around 64 or 60, around 64, 65 now, I think. I lived there for years. How long is that Villiers Street? I think I lived in Villiers Street around 78.
Mm-hmm.
No, 67. Around 70, I think. Around 70, I lived in Villiers Street around 70, I think. 1970.
You lived there until 70?
1970, yeah.
From 60?
Around 62.
Okay.
So, I think, yeah. Yes.
Did your wife have any family in this country?
Yeah, she had a brother at London. So she had a brother at London. I think that was the closest relative she had, yeah. Her relatives then was in America, actually. It was all in America.
Mm-hmm. So, in this country, were you still able to practice your religion?
No, I didn't actually.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't myself. But yes, you could have done. I suppose you could have done. But saying that again, the problem was, I mean, I think you'll find that probably 80%, 90% of probably the West Indians were Church of England.
That came over here.
That came over here, yeah. And I think it was the kind of reception that they got, the early reception that they got. You know, I think that's more or less why they moved away in, and you know, we had formed their own thing then, I think, to a certain extent. Because they was rejected to a certain extent, you know, with the church rejected them.
Right.
You know. Maybe not, just probably not being even conscious of the fact that there was, you know, that was being rejected, you know. That was not conscious of the fact that they were rejecting them. Rejected, you know, sometimes, not always, obviously.
Yeah. So you weren't active, even though you weren't active in religion? Yeah.
No, I wasn't. You know, saying that when I got married, obviously, the vicar was very good on that. You know, but he wasn't active in religion now.
What about now? I mean, is it active?
Well, I am now. Yes, I mean, I am reasonably active now. Yes, in religion, more active in religion. Yes, and the community, as the things have changed, moved on quite a bit. I have moved on quite a bit from those years. You know, I left British Rail. I've been to. This is moving over 65 now. This is obviously. When I left British Rail, I've been to British Telecom. But the British Telecom for 10 years.
As what? What did you work as?
As a mechanic.
Right.
Technician, British Telecom technician. Then from British Telecom I finished up with the AA, with the association.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And that time over that Telecom, obviously, at Telecom I did quite a bit of training. You know, I used to be up London quite often. They would send London on course. I used to enjoy. I look forward to it. I used to enjoy going up to London in courses up at Hayes, Middlesex. You know, that's where the college were. They'll send you up there.
So when was this, in the late 60s, early 70s, or?
Yeah, late 60s, early 70s, and I've been to West Bromwich College. You know, quite a bit of training at West Bromwich College, mechanics, and at Woodfront College. You know, that. I joined the AA then during the year 78, I think. 70. This is 2000, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
78 I joined the AA. You know, I was the AA for 22 years with the AA. Enjoyed it. Very happy days, you know. Very happy days out with the AA. It's a different way of life, actually. It's a way of life, actually. The AA, it's not just a job, it's a way of life. You know, it's a way of life, the AA, you know. Quite a bit of training. Mm-hmm. You know, all over the country, all different places. You know, there's places that you wouldn't think, you know, possible.
So was this difficult with having a wife and child?
I've skipped a bit actually from the wife and child. Obviously, I've skipped a bit from that. Yes, obviously the wife. She was working. She came and she was working. Obviously, she was a district midwife.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Sattler, I don't know. I mean, she was a district midwife for years. We got divorced. 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, could be. A bit longer, could be. About 12 years ago. Before that, we moved from there into Wensfield.
From Lower Villiers?
From Lower Villiers Street to Wensfield. About, how long did I say was that Villiers Street? 8 years at Villiers Street? About that, yeah. Then we moved to Wensfield. We had another daughter at Wensfield.
Mm-hmm. Name?
Amelia.
Amelia.
Yeah, Amelia. No, she was born at Cosford RAF. You know, she was born in the hospital there at that time. You know, she grew up. You know, did quite reasonably well at school. She'd been to Perry Hall and then to the Girls' High School. And finished up. You know, they're big women now, both of them are. We got divorced in the sense that I've remarried.
Mm-hmm.
You know, still living at Wednesfield. You know, and the wife, the ex-wife, she lives at Villanova. You know, we see one of that, but talking that. You know, how the kids are doing. Yeah. Obviously, she's very religious.
Right.
The ex-wife is very religious in that. You know.
How old are your daughters now?
62 and 62 and what? 62 and what is 62 and 38? 38 is 2000. 68, 62 and 38 is 2000.
62 and 38.
Is that 2000? Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
So one is it's 38 and 72, 28, 38.
28 and 38.
Yeah, that's right, 20, yeah.
And 66 maybe.
Yeah, well, one is that's right, yeah.
So one's 48.
Well, no, 38.
38 and one's
28.
Okay, that sounds right.
62 and 72. That's right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
62 and 72, yeah.
And do they live in Wolverhampton?
Yeah, they both live in Wolverhampton and work in Wolverhampton. And they live with the mum, obviously. They both live with the mum, you know, they're very religious.
Mm-hmm. So, you were remarried, and presumably, I mean, do you have another family or?
Yeah, my married wife is Merling, actually. Jamaican girl named Merling.
Mm-hmm.
Woman actually with named Merling. She was a nurse as well. She retired now. She retired clinical manager. She was a clinical manager. She retired not very long ago. When did she retire? Not very long ago, actually. I can't remember that date. Maybe 6 months ago. 6 months ago, she retired. It's that long. 6 months ago.
So how do you feel your life would have been do you feel like your life has been any different now that you've lived for the past 30, 40 years in Wolverhampton compared to Barbados maybe?
Has it been different?
Well, had you never come here, I mean, how...
Oh, I see. How would I say? It's difficult, I don't know. It's difficult really to imagine what it would have been like if I hadn't come here. It's difficult. You know, I wouldn't... I don't know what it would have been. I suppose such as life is difficult. It's difficult, really, you know, to really look back and say, if you hadn't done this, or if you hadn't done that, what would life had been like? You know, I think it's nearly impossible, really, for a person to look back years and see if they hadn't done this, if they hadn't done that, what that would have been like. But saying that, I've got no regrets, really. You know, and through so far, I would say I've had a reasonably happy life. Mm-hmm. It could have been better. There's always room for improvement, you know, but. I've got no regrets. I've got a happy life. I mean, I've had like most West Indians have occasionally, you know, I've had the colour bar thing, you know, but I've never really walked around with it on my shoulder because I don't think that would have helped, you know.
What? So you're happy having made your choices of having left Barbados at that age, having come over here, having worked, you've enjoyed.
Yes, I've enjoyed it, yeah. Because, you see, when you live Barbados, I mean, you said we was young, you know, but the older chaps might see it different. But we was young, so we was young, single, as I say, young, single, free, disengaged, you know, you got nothing, you know.
No attachments, yeah.
That's it, so you came over here anymore, that's just, you build your family up, you know. I mean, obviously, you divorce and that, but at the end of the day, you know, you build your family up, so you set your roots to a certain extent here. I've been back, you know, and I enjoy it, you know, it's nice. Nice to go back, don't get me wrong, it's nice to go back, you know. And whether in later years I'll retire there or not, I don't know. I wouldn't say, you know, but it hasn't been easy. That's the thing, I mean, you go back now and people think, well, why didn't you send for me, or why didn't you do this, or why didn't you do that? But why didn't you send for me, you know, people say, why didn't you send for me, or why didn't you do that? But had you known, I mean, Britain have changed, but the world have changed. And looking back now, people probably would have sent for a lot more people if they thought England would have turned out the way it has. Well, I'll put it that way. The world has, the world have changed. But people never thought that England would have turned out the way it has.
Mm-hmm.
They've changed in certain respects for the better. And again for the worse in certain respects, I suppose. But the people in general are more prosperous. It's a fact. People in general are more prosperous. I mean, in the early days, people see, you came here and you work, and you didn't have to think of anything, because if anything was short, you didn't have to think of anything, because the state would look after you. Anything goes wrong, you'll be automatically looked after by the state. But now things got to the stage, you have to look after yourself to a certain extent. You get help from the state to a certain extent, but it's limited.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be more look after yourself. If anything, in those days, as the jobs was plentiful, there's no job problem. You lose your job, you go down the road and you get one tomorrow. You got nowhere to live. They put you up. They find, they give you somewhere to live. No problem. You put your name on the council list and you get a house.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose they're still there, but different. It's different today. Not like it was in those days. But things have changed, and people thought, it was going to be that way all the time, but they haven't. Some of the changes have been for the better. Some again, not so good.
What about the future? How do you feel about the future? Do you feel positive about the future? In terms of race relations, in terms of...
Well, race relations, there have been changes. But there's a long way to go yet. There's a long way to go yet to be able to be an equal,
society.
You got a long way to go yet, Because obviously, again, this is going around the country, and I've been around the country quite a bit. I've been in quite a few places, I've been around a bit. As I said, I've been well looked after, but can't grumble. I've been, working for the AA, working for BT, and that, And going around the country, you see things, and people, black people this and black people that, and black people here and black people there. But the black people, they're only in certain places. You only see them in Wolverhampton, you see them in Handsworth, but you go around certain parts of the country, and funny enough, people in this day and age, people are still surprised to see the young kids, especially, they're still surprised to see a black flag. The parents probably are, but the young kids, they still, see the kids come to school, they're still surprised to see a black face, and that. Things have moved, we move forward a bit, but we still got a long way to go. And you got a new generation, obviously the generation now, they're more educated. But the world in general, I suppose, is more educated, not only but the young blacks now, they see life different. And they've got the start that we didn't have. In other words, we've given them the start that we didn't have. I suppose in a way that...
down the foundations.
That's it. And in a way, that's life, because that is life, and that's how life should be. You look back and we've got a better life than our parents had, no doubt about it, we have. And our kids should have a better life than we have had. And if it goes on like that, eventually the world will be a better place. If it goes on like that, if it goes on like that.
How do you feel, or what do you feel like you've contributed to Wolverhampton? What has been your personal contribution to Wolverhampton that can be interpreted in any way you want?
Well, I suppose I was on the railway. I was on the railway in modification time, and we work in conditions out there that, I was a guard. I was moved on from being shunted to a guard, and you go out on Sunday mornings, to get the trains ready for the gangers to repair the tracks and that. And we work in conditions out there Sunday in the morning, snowing, and you thought, well, is the bloke sure he's going to start work? Well, he never started work, he carried on.
Mm-hmm.
He carried on in those, it was terrible conditions, snowing, and snowing quite heavy as well. And you think, well, you're going to, and bitterly cold, and you think, it doesn't get cold now, it used to get cold in those days. You thought, no, he's going to start work, but he didn't stop. He carried on work. Of course, you got to be. Obviously, he wasn't out on the track. But you still had to be alert and realize what's going on in case he needed the train moving or something like that. You see, you move around. You see, so that's the contribution to the modification of the railway then, because at that time they was laying the lines and putting the electric overhead and that. So that again, I went with British Telecom, you know, with the Telecom for a few years again, and I contributed quite a bit. And I says they give me the training that I needed. They need it as well, because obviously I was part of the workforce. You know, that's another thing again. I mean, at Telecom, I worked with Telecom, I worked with the AA. How things changed, a lot of things were more or less built around the army days, the management structure and things. Well, you know, it was around the army days. And, the supervisor would come in the shop and he says, Walter, we got a course up at London next week for 2 weeks, you know. Have a word with next month or so, you know, he give you a date. Have a word with the wife when you get home, see if she can, see if you're out for you to go. You know, and you go home, you know, and he said, it's okay, you know, and you'll be up London for 2 weeks, you know, and at that time you enjoy it. I mean, in the latter years, obviously, I didn't enjoy it, I didn't like going away from home. He said, oh, London for 2 weeks, and you get up there, you know, in the college and that, you know, and you'd enjoy it. And I said, they give you the training, you know, they give you the training because the training helped the company as well at the same time, you know. About that time then, the split, because it used to be all telecoms and postal used to be all, it was all the same company more or less then. They split them then, they split the telecom on one side and the postal on the other side. Split the company then. And all the telecom vans, the telecom vehicles and the little units that they had, because people see telecom and they only see the van driving down the street. But behind those vans, the stacks of the equipment that they had that people never see, you know, little pumps and generators and different equipment and machinery that they had, you know. This used to be all painted the army colour. Mm-hmm. Of course, with the changeover, everything had to be painted yellow, and new numbers and things stick on the vehicles and things. Of course, I had the job of doing, you know, helping with sticking the numbers on the vehicles and that. And I had thousands of, there was so many, you know. And the guy that gave me that job, he said, your job is to look after the mechanical aids, as it's called, the little equipment. You know, and he gave me these numbers. He says, here's the numbers on the sheets, and I had to stick all these little transfers onto this thing and stick them on these equipment. Mm-hmm. You know, because I learned to repair the equipment as well. But he gave me the training. But again, that was my contribution to the, you know, to telecom. And I mean, we work. At times it was hard, you know, get the big vehicles coming in with the big engines and that. And personally, I can see anybody doing those jobs easy. But he was young and strong as well. But then personally, I can see the easy way of doing those jobs. Because I mean, those big engines, you know, and those engines big, there's no easy way to. You got machinery and things to help. But at the end of the day, you still had to maneuver those engines around and that. But it didn't matter because you were young and had the training and that. And I enjoyed it, you know. You know, after you build an engine up and big engine, you know, and when you turn the key and it cranks up, you know, you feel you've done something, you know. But I always remember the foreman there, a chap by the name of Tony Quibble, you know, and he always used to say, remember, Wally, you know, he said, remember, if a job is worth doing, it's worth doing well. And those things tend to stick with you, you know, down to the training, you know. Mm-hmm. You go on the courses and you know, those are things that hammer home to you, you know. If a job is worth doing, it's worth doing well. You get the bloke on the electrics, training the electrics, you know, and he says, you got to do this to get that back, you know, and he says, you got to put that in to get that back, you know. And he says, remember, you never get nothing for nothing, really. He says, you know, if you don't put votes in, you don't get that out, you know, and you get nothing for nothing, you know. And that's the point you use, you know, to hammer things home, and that's what it was. So the training was very, very thorough. It was more thorough, I thought, than, I suppose it was a different kind of training. I was going to say more thorough than the AA, but it wasn't, because it was a different kind of training. The AA was, see, the post office, you work with vehicles and machinery and equipment and that. The AA, it was in just different kind of training, different kind of thing altogether. You had to be completely retrained, because you wasn't just working with vehicles, you were working with people. Mm. You know, and I said, people only see the AA vans go around and they think of you. It's you know, you're working with people, and people that you'll be surprised in realizing how different people can be.
That's quite a skill in itself.
Yes, it's a skill.
Dealing with people.
You're dealing with people, you know, and completely different. You know, you have to be very, very careful, especially you stick out more or less, because there wasn't many of us at the time. There wasn't many of us with the AA, you know, and you stick out, you know. People, you know, you roll up, you know, people, you know, occasionally you get some people form an opinion before you get there, you know, and then when you finish, then they change, you know. When you, as soon as you roll up, you know, I suppose they form the opinion of, you know, you know, when you finish, then they change.
Yeah. So finally, is there anything else that you'd like to say about anything in relation to what we've been talking about? Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I can't think of anything really. Can't think of anything really. As I said, apart from, as I said, have a very happy life. You know, I mean, I worked with the AI for 20 odd years, and I've really enjoyed every minute of it. You know, I get cold and that, but at the end of the day, you know, it's not cold every day, and you know, it's overshadowed by everything. But it's a different. I say it's a way of life, and you had to. You know, you was at work 24 hours a day, especially being black as well. I suppose I could say that. Mm-hmm. You was on duty 24 hours a day. You wouldn't realize it, but you was 24 hours a day on duty. Not only you, but the people think they've changed a bit now. You know, but the AA bloke is on duty 24 hours a day. People don't know that, but he is. Some of the police are standing very close to the police as well. You know, they're very, not the blokes on the crime and the traffic blokes. They're very close to the traffic blokes and that. You know.